All right, let's just jump right into it. We're going to break down a game that is, well, it's part rhythm, part platformer, and honestly, it's all about precision. We're talking about a global phenomenon that's built on this deceptively simple idea. So welcome. This is your guide to the art of Geometry Dash.
First things first, let's just wrap our heads around the scale here. This isn't some tiny niche indie hit. No way. We are talking about a community of over 100 million players worldwide. I mean, just think about that for a second. That is an absolutely staggering number of people, all dedicated to conquering some of the most difficult levels ever designed.
So, what's at the heart of this global obsession? You know, it really just boils down to one super simple mechanic. You tap to jump, you hold to fly. That's it. But, and this is the key, inside that simplicity lies this entire universe of unbelievable complexity and challenge.
So what do we even call this thing? It's what's known as a rhythm-based platformer. And this is probably the most crucial point to understand. The music isn't just some background noise, not at all. That high-energy soundtrack is your roadmap. Every single jump, every dodge, every movement is perfectly synchronized to the beat. The level is the song.
So what's the secret sauce here? What makes it so special? Well, it's really this perfect combination of three things. You've got the rhythm-synced gameplay, which forces you into this state of pure, unadulterated focus. Then, you have the vibrant neon visuals that are literally pulsing and reacting to the music, pulling it right in. And finally, you have this huge active community, which means you're never really playing alone. You're always sharing, competing, and creating with millions of other people.
Okay, so let's say you're ready to jump in. How do you even begin? Well, it all starts with learning that basic beat. The cool thing is, the barrier to entry is incredibly low. I mean, there are no complicated button combos to memorize or anything like that. It's just tapping. The entire game is a test of your timing. Can you hit that tap at the exact perfect millisecond again and again and again? That's the whole challenge. Now, the game doesn't just throw you to the wolves and expect you to be perfect from the get-go. That's what practice mode is for. And trust me, it's going to be your best friend. It lets you learn the layout of a level, really get a feel for its unique rhythm, and build that absolutely crucial muscle memory, all without the pressure of starting from the beginning every single time you mess up. So, before you commit, you do have a choice to make. The light version is the perfect introduction. It gives you a great taste of the gameplay with a handful of levels, but the full version, that's where the entire universe of Geometry Dash really opens up. You get every official level and, most importantly, you get access to the literally millions of levels created by the community.
All right, so you've beaten your first few levels, you get the basics. Now we talk about the climb. This is the journey from just playing the game to truly mastering its core skills.
You know, this is probably the best analogy for getting good at Geometry Dash. You aren't just playing a game, you're performing. Seriously. Each level is like this incredibly complex dance routine set to music, and your fingers are learning the steps through pure, raw repetition until it just becomes instinct. It's all about that muscle memory.
So, how do you actually build that muscle memory? Well, you can break it down into 3 simple steps. First, you learn to instantly recognize the obstacles, spikes, saws, portals, you name it. Then, you start to memorize the patterns, the exact sequence of actions that are tied to the song's rhythm. And finally, you learn to manage your speed, knowing exactly when to hold back and when to unleash a rapid-fire series of taps.
But you know, this brings up a pretty big question. The game only has a certain number of official levels. So, what happens when you beat all of them? Is the game just over?
Not even close. This is where we get into the endgame, because in Geometry Dash, finishing the official levels, that's just the tutorial. Now it's about creating your own challenge.
The true long-term life of Geometry Dash is found in its level editor. The game gives you the exact same tools that the developers used, which lets you design, build, and basically choreograph your very own levels. You can pick custom music, create new obstacles, add your own visual flair, the whole shebang.
And this right here, this feedback loop, is the engine that keeps the game infinitely fresh and interesting. You create a level, you publish it to that massive community, and boom, you instantly start getting feedback. People rate it, they leave comments, and you use all that input to make your next creation even better. It's just a never-ending cycle of creativity.
So, that's the full picture, right? Let's quickly recap that entire journey from being a brand new player all the way to a potential master and creator.
So what are the big takeaways here? It's pretty simple, really. Start with practice mode to get a feel for the rhythm. Focus on mastering those core skills of recognition and memorization. Then, once you're ready, dive headfirst into the millions of custom levels and maybe even become a creator yourself. But above all, you have to understand that this is a game about embracing the challenge. Success feels so good because it's genuinely earned.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. In a game with a basically infinite number of levels, the only real limit is your own dedication. So the question isn't if you can find a challenge. The question is, with so many out there, what will you conquer first?